Media Matters is not happy with what happened in 2024. And Media Matters is forced to write an article titled, "The Right Dominates the Online Media Ecosystem, Seeping into Sports, Comedy, and Other Supposedly Non-Political Spaces." Okay, notice the key word was what? Supposedly. Other political spaces. So let's read this article, see what Media Matters has to say about it. Media Matters study of 320 online shows found that right-leaning ones like Joe Rogan, with 39.9 million followers, dominates with 480 million total followers across platforms, nearly 5 times left-leaning shows, holding 82% of the 584 million. UFC's Dana White praised their election role, saying, "I want to thank the boys, Aiden Ross, Theo Vaughn, Bussin' with the Boys, and a mighty and powerful Joe Rogan has 9 out of the top 10, including Ben Shapiro's 25 million lean right." The right-leaning show seep into non-political spaces with 72% of the 111 shows, like comedy, Joe Rogan, Full Sun Podcast, pushing ideological content despite 42% of the 191 right-leaning shows being news-focused. Bloomberg's analytics of YouTubers like Patrick Bet-David. Above all, the broadcasters described American men as victims of a Democratic campaign to strip them from their power, while Pew noted 31% trust podcasts over traditional news, up from 2016. So it's interesting, Rob, if you can go to the two charts. So watch this. If you zoom this in a little bit, and you'll see who they have there. You got Charlie Kirk there. You got Brandon Tatum. You got Graham Allen, Full Send Podcast, Glenn Beck, Nick, who is that? I can't see their last name. What is the last name? Freitas?
Nick where?
Nick Freitas. Then you got Aiden Ross, Ben Shapiro. You got Young Turks, 12 million, Midas Touch, Megan Kelly. Who is that? Is that us on the bottom left?
Patrick Bet-David, another guy.
10 points. Rob, do we know what they're calculating on the count? Tim Pool, Benny Johnson, Russell Brand, Dan Bongino. By the way, the guy stopped this whole thing just to go out there and serve his country. Wow. Can you imagine what a honorable thing that is to do? Tucker Carlson. You got Judicial Watch, Pierce Morgan, Phil McGraw, Candace Owens, Lex Friedman, Dinesh D'Souza. Go a little bit higher to see who's on the top. Who's up there? Jordan Peterson, Steven Crowder, Theo Vaughn, Matt Walsh. Okay, Impulsive. And then if you go to the one with topics, this is very interesting. If you can go to the next one that has to do with topics. There's another one that keep going. You'll see it. Keep going a little bit more. It's the next one right there. So right-leaning and left-leaning shows by ideological, non-political categories, okay? So blue, left-leaning shows, sports culture 16.2, comedy 8.1, entertainment 1.8, technology 0.9, education 0.9. Okay, then you have red, gaming 1.8, sports 2.7, business 2.7, technology, wellness, entertainment 6.3, religion and spirituality 9.9, comedy 13.5, societal and cultural 22%. Tom, why do you think this is happening?
Well, I feel like I'm watching, and I was just trying to look it up. I feel like I'm watching a replay now in the podcast space of what the liberals were saying about talk radio in the 80s and 90s. We don't understand. This Rush Limbaugh guy has gone bonkers. You know, this Hugh Hewitt guy in Southern California has gone bonkers. You saw the guys who were out there, and there was a guy that was out there 80s and 90s in L.A., Tom Likas, was trying to be the liberal voice, but then he became a male pig. We started talking about how to get laid and all these things like this.
He was the original red pill guy. He's one of them, for sure.
That's right. But guess what? He wasn't talking about political things as much as all of a sudden the women were like, wait. You're not going to the women's side of this. So I feel like what we just saw there is showing. And guess what happened? They looked at it. And you know what? Rush Limbaugh was getting people riled up, talking about what the Democrats were doing to, tell me if this sounds familiar, education, the economy.
Weird.
Guess what? And all manner of things. And people like Hugh Hewitt, who wrote a bunch of books and things that came around behind him, and that led to Glenn Beck. And why did these right-wing conservative guys become so big in talk radio? Because people wanted to listen to it, and it was common sense. And I come back to that again. That's where it was. It wasn't that Rush Limbaugh was a super dynamic speaker. He was a very average speaker, but a powerful message. And that's what's happened. I feel like we're looking now, and now they're looking at it now saying, I don't understand this. All these conservative-leaning guys that have really strong voices, and now in the podcasting space, I don't understand it. just wipe the names off the dot and go back to talk radio in the 80s and 90s. It's history repeating itself. The average citizen wants what the conservatives have to say. And if you just give it a generation and then pull back all the liberal control that they put into the media ownership, guess what happens? I don't get it. And then Fox bad, Fox bad, Fox bad, because they're the only place on the block where you could get what you want.
And he made a great point. Look at from this chart, from this polling or whatever media matters. It doesn't matter because they don't give a damn. Look at nothing about religion or spirituality. Zero. Nothing. Okay. Entertainment, we're killing it. Our comedy's up by how many more percent? Because you can't take yourself serious. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
The largest slice is in the blue?
It's society and culture. And
woke!
The woke, and that's exactly it. That's why the Don Lemons and all this shit, and that's why Don flipped sides and became this type of person to bow down to these people because his masters told him to do it. But look at that. Look at how much more shit we're talking about.
So
the most
Caitlin.
important.
That's not how it is. The way you got to look at it is that's not the way to look at it. You have to look at it as their pie's a quarter, right?
Okay.
So whatever number it's shown on the top right, you have to multiply treat their quarter as 100%. So if you treat their quarter as 100%, their 16.2 is really 16.2 times 4.
Oh,
so it's 60.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it is. So they're all about societal and culture. We're not.
Yes.
We're 22.
Yeah.
So their comedy is times 4, 32. Our comedy is 13 and a half. Their entertainment is times 4, say whatever, is 7%. Their technology is... So we're spending more time on certain things than they are.
Which is
their
working.
education is the same. We're talking religion and spirituality. They're not.
They're not at
We're
all.
talking, we're talking...
Health and wellness?
Yes. I don't know where health and wellness
at the
is
bottom,
6.3. You
they're
don't
not
even see
talking.
them there.
They're not even...
So, but they're
Or
all spending
business.
a lot of times on society and culture.
Exactly.
I have an idea here, but Adam, your thoughts?
So when was this poll run? Like how many years does it cover? Is it just 1 year? Is it a span?
It says at the bottom, it doesn't say a time, from a study of 320 online shows with a right-leaning or left-leaning ideological bent, including 111 shows that self-identify on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. So it doesn't give an actual time frame.
There goes the self-identify thing. But you know what I find interesting? I suspect 4 years from now, this pie chart will look a lot different because the center right or even right wing media outlets, podcasts, shows certainly had a massive boost under the Biden administration. My assumption is under the Trump administration, a lot more left leaning podcasts are going to find their voice. You know, we talked about that the Democratic Party's approval rating is at an all-time low, and they give a certain percentage of how much they want to basically rail against the Republican agenda and the MAGA agenda. So we're going to see how this chart flips, but I believe every second of it. You know what I find the most interesting here, though? The biggest segments of both are culture and comedy. I don't see any funny shit coming out of the left these days. Jimmy Kimmel, the late night shows, Fallon a little bit, Colbert. I mean, it's genuinely sad to see the comedy that's coming out of the left.
Kimmel became painful by your words during the election.
Painful. I mean, Seth Meyers, and they're not changing. That's the craziest thing. Vinny, literally a professional comedian. Me, not so professional, but a comedian. Pat, I think you're going to do your first stand-up comedy one of these days. But
I'm open for Vinny.
But look at Theo Vaughn about how freaking funny he is by pushing the envelope, making fun of people, doing accents.
Bobby.
That's what coming. Bobby son. I think you showed a clip the other day
You know what
about
it is?
In Living Color, a guy doing. I think it was Damon Wayans, your boy, doing a character
Eating
called
a cheeseburger off
Handyman.
Oh, Handyman. Yeah.
Up,
away.
Oh, no, you don't.
But you know what it is, though? If you go back to that chart, I noticed one thing. And let me tell you what it is. You know what I noticed? Valuetainment. That's what I noticed. The people on the right are valuetainers.
Yep.
They bring value, they entertain, and it's becoming a movement, period. So I'll look at somebody and say, that's a valuetainer, meaning he has valuetainment in him. Joe Rogan, valuetainment. You got Theo Vaughn. I don't know if he's valuetainment. I think he's a lot of tainment. Okay, he's just pure tainment. But every once in a while, he asks questions that makes you think. But the left, you don't see a lot of valuetainment.
Nope.
It's victim, it's unfair, it's this, it's that. We announced the Yeti collaboration with all of these. Like this. gone. Okay. And by the way, a bunch of guys are posting them. Ladies, this was the ladies number one. You guys wouldn't even wait on this one here. This didn't stand a chance. And I have the red one, which is the one I use. Reason why I'm not wearing a jacket, because I'm famous for spilling protein drinks on my jacket. And by the way, literally what I'm telling you is, this isn't the first time. A couple of weeks ago, I spilled the whole thing, and I'm driving. I'm like, this place smells like a protein drink. So, wow, this thing's very strong. I look to my right, the entire protein drink on the entire car. We had to take it professional. They had to suck the protein drink out of the seat in the Porsche 911. They're like, this is... Anyways, the guy made some money that day.
Just thank God it wasn't onions, Pat.
But well, at least it smells good. Anyways, these went. And we have a lot of new surprises coming up for a lot of you. But I will tell you guys, parents, if you have kids that are 12 and up, including yourself, if you have not yet ordered the Academy, go order it. You will see why, okay? There's a lot of people that are not happy about this book. There's a lady that made a video about this, about, the Academy online, pissed off. How could you say stuff like this in the book? Because there's a scene in the book that Margaret Thatcher is debating Karl Marx. If you haven't yet ordered it for yourself and your kids and you've not read it, go ahead and order the book. Anybody that places the order today, Rob, if I'm not mistaken, signed copy of this, they get 4 bookmarks of the Academy that'll be put in there with you as well for anyone that orders a book, especially the fact that this is what do they call this month, Rob? March is
National Reading Month.
National Reading Month. Catch up on the books, place the order for Academy for yourself and your kids above the age of 12, which is what I did with my kids. My Dylan also read it. You'll get 4 custom bookmarks being sent your way. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.